All righty, we'll call the meeting to order here, and we will start out with the approving the agenda.
Mr. Chair, there's a few additions. Tom Schroeder has been added with a resolution authorizing execution of the lease and agreement, and Horizon Public Health has also been added. They're going to come and talk about cannabis retail sales registration procedures. We're starting with Resolution 2568 today.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
And I second.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Jeff. Lenny?
Rapp?
Yes.
Way?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Helena?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All righty, then we'll move to approve the draft minutes of the August 19th, 2025 regular meeting.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, sir.
Thank you, Charlie.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tim. Lenny, please.
Way?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Helena?
Yes.
Rapp?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Before we move on to our first item here, I want to just make a little statement here. It says, before we start our first item on our agenda today, I wanted to give a brief summary of what has taken place with Elamir and Douglas County in regards to Elamir forming a 501c3. Douglas County has been involved with Tom Schroeder since January 17th, 2025, and we, the board, have laid all the cards on the table and see the benefit and value for both Elamir and Douglas County by doing this move. And just a footnote here, and a footnote here is that Mr. Schroeder was hired by Douglas County, and I guess with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Schroeder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, public. My name is Tom Schroeder. I'm an attorney with Faegre Drinker Biddle in Minneapolis. And you're absolutely correct, Mr. Chair. I do represent the county in this arrangement. And in fact, as we'll get into shortly, what's extraordinary about this arrangement is no one is representing the other side. That's because the county has made this determination, is driving this deal, and is doing so for the betterment of the community and its health care. And I applaud you for that. I've been with the firm of Faegre Drinker Biddle, originally Faegre and Benson, for 34 years. I've done these transactions throughout the state of Minnesota, throughout the Midwest, and now nationally. But my roots, or I should say my wife's roots, go deeply within this community. And I just want to comment on that briefly. The last time I was in this facility, I was attending my wife's grandfather's funeral.
Wow.
And before that, it was my wife's grandmother's funeral. My wife comes from 6 generations of residents on Lake Ida, and they farmed and reside there today. I care deeply about this community. This isn't a personal matter for me, but I just wanted you to know my familiarity with your wonderful community. I do not represent the nonprofit with which this lease is entered into, and I'll address why in a few minutes, but I do want you to know that I am your attorney, and I would love it if we spent this time responding to any questions that you, the commissioners, may have. In a couple of weeks, there'll be an opportunity to address questions that the public may have. You've all seen this presentation before because this is one of the most vetted, well thought out transactions I believe your hospital has ever entered into, and the county has driven all of it. All the more reason to spend this time responding to questions rather than me going through my slide deck, but I will do so unless stopped. Ultimately, we're all advocates for the community and its health care. I'm not here to make the business case for this deal. I think that's already been well made. The Q&As, the newspaper articles, it's all out there. But what I am here for is to make sure you fully understand the structure of this as a legal transaction and have an opportunity to weigh and consider it in all of its detail. So let's jump into it. Our agenda, my agenda, you've already stated your agenda, is first and foremost to review the authority under which the county enters into this transaction, because in fact there is a statutory basis for what you're doing. to review how the new nonprofit that'll govern the hospital, how it itself is governed. And lastly, to review the actual terms of the lease that are before you in this resolution today. From a statutory standpoint, more than 40 years ago, the Minnesota legislature enacted a statute authorizing counties to lease their hospital facilities to be run by a nonprofit as a community hospital, as long as they would continue to be open to all members of the community on equal terms. It also set forth a maximum term of 30 years and an option to review the lease for additional 30-year terms. The statute addressed the price that could be charged, and knowing that the goal of these transactions is never to take money out of healthcare, but to further its investment, the statute sets forth that the net rent should be not less than the amount required to pay the principal and interest when due on all revenue bonds issued by the county, essentially making the county whole in its investments and its bond debt. The statute states that the lease can be bought out, in effect, with an option to purchase the assets subject to the lease, and that price has to be at least the amounts still owing on the bond debt at that date. This slide is essentially the model for the entire deal. I could spend the entire presentation on this slide. I promise I won't. But this is the before and the after. The before is on the left side. The Publix County Hospital, overseen ultimately by you, the Board of Commissioners, and directly by a hospital board of which you comprise the majority at present. Now, several months ago, a private nonprofit corporation was established. And for the time being, as we stand here, as I stand here, as you sit here today, the board of that nonprofit is identical to the board of the public hospital. But if this transaction is approved, that board would be reconstituted to have a majority of private individuals with 2 appointees, a minority of that board, appointed by the county commissioners. That nonprofit would have certain restrictions that we call reserved powers in its bylaws, restrictions that can never be altered by the nonprofit itself, but can only be altered with the consent of the county. We'll address those restrictions in a few minutes. And that nonprofit, most fundamentally, will have the document before you today, the lease and agreement with the county, under which it's allowed to use and grow the assets of the health system, both the real estate as well as the personalty, into the future. That's essentially the deal. The 3 deal documents have been submitted to the public packet, 2 of which really aren't before you today, but as I say, I've drafted those with your interests in mind. Those are the articles of incorporation that establish the nonprofit and its bylaws. You've had an opportunity to review those documents, but those aren't before you for approval today. Those are part of the deal package as a whole. And if you approve the lease transaction, you will be implicitly approving the governance of the new nonprofit. It's the lease and agreement between the nonprofit and the county that is to be approved by the commissioners. Those articles of incorporation are essentially the constitution of the nonprofit. They're much like the county charter of the county itself. It creates the organization. It restricts its activity perpetually to charitable tax-exempt purposes. It provides, importantly, that if there's any surplus after the dissolution of the corporation, which may never occur, but if it did occur, any surplus would have to return to the county. It states that the directors of the nonprofit, its board members, shall be appointed pursuant to the bylaws, which we'll get to in a moment. And it states that the articles can only be amended with the approval of the county. With respect to the bylaws, which are more or less the operating procedures for the board and the corporation of the nonprofit, the bylaws contain, as I mentioned earlier, some very important reserved powers. These aren't normally found in bylaws of corporations. Those powers, among other things, require the county's consent after 90 days prior notice to any of the following actions that the nonprofit's board may propose to enter into. Those include amendments to the bylaws that would in any way diminish the county's authority over the nonprofit, changes to the nonprofit's mission, any future proposed sales or mergers or leases of substantially all the assets of the nonprofit, or entering into what healthcare lawyers would call whole hospital management agreements, a device to give control and management of the organization to a third party. There's a common theme in all these reserved powers, and that has to do with one of the fundamental objectives of this transaction, which is to retain local and independent authority and autonomy for your healthcare system in perpetuity for as long as the county deems that important. Because through these reserved powers, the county and the county alone has the ability to prevent the nonprofit from being sold off, merged off, withered away, or otherwise managed away through third-party transactions. And these provisions are subject to that overriding provision in the first bullet that they can't be amended or deleted from the bylaws without the county's consent. It's all locked in the box. Well, I've essentially gone through this slide, so let's go to the next one here. The board of directors. Who will be governing this institution? Its composition, like most organizations, will change over time. Like most private nonprofit corporations, its governance will be among its own elected members. It won't be appointed by a third party with the exception of 2 county commissioners. It can comprise, depending on what the board wants, anywhere between 7 and 15 members. All but 2 of those members have to reside within the hospital service area. Between 10 to 30% of those members have to be licensed healthcare practitioners. They can't be officers, directors, or other similar leaders of a third-party health system, nor can more than 30% be employees of another competing health system. And these last 2 restrictions are intended to ensure that we don't have a board comprised of our competitors. Again, another check to ensure that the organization remains autonomous and independent into the future. As I said, at least 1 and no more than 2 of the board members have to be county appointees, which may be county commissioners themselves, but need not be. Those board members who are not county appointees can be removed by a 2/3 vote of the remainder of the board, but the county appointees themselves can only be removed by the county. Turning now to the lease instrument. As I said, the statute authorizes a 30-year lease, and that's exactly what we've got here. The statute authorized an auto renewal, and we've adopted that as well. All the real estate that today comprises the health system will be subject to the lease. But this isn't your grandfather's lease, because the lease explicitly governs all future acquired real estate and indeed all future acquired assets of the nonprofit. That's to ensure that if there's ever a need to enforce the lease and take back the assets, the county takes back everything, not just the bits and pieces that were transferred in 2026. The rent is identical to the county's bond payments, exactly as the statute authorizes. The county will have out-of-pocket expenses, no doubt, in overseeing the lease, secretarial expenses, perhaps legal, accounting, other expenses. Those will be reimbursed by the nonprofit as part of its rent payments. The nonprofit will also pay an administrative fee of 2% of the annual debt service. The lease does contain provisions at your directive that the county is not able to change the rent payment during the term of the agreement without the consent of the nonprofit. It was felt that the county and future county commissioners should not be tempted by imposing payments in lieu of taxes or other fees or other rent, draining the resources from its own healthcare system. That was not the intent of this deal, and you wanted to ensure that it wouldn't be the intent or the temptation of future county commissioners. You're probably more familiar with the parcels involved in this lease than I am. I've driven past some of these, but the lease governs all of the 9 listed parcels shown on this slide. As I said, the lease also governs future acquired property, regardless of whether it's acquired in fee simple by the nonprofit or acquired under the county's continued title and ownership. Either way, it's made subject to the lease and its enforcement provisions. Another way in which this is not your grandfather's lease is the fact that the nonprofit is forced to assume all of the past together with the present and the future liabilities of the county's operations. In a normal arm's length third-party transaction, the other side would never allow acceptance of liabilities incurred under the seller or lessor's watch. But in this instance, the nonprofit is taking essentially the good with the bad, including all unknown and as yet potentially unfiled liabilities that the county might have had in the operation of the healthcare system. The nonprofit won't be benefiting from tort claims immunity under Minnesota statutes as the county is, and so the nonprofit is going to have various categories of insurance to cover that added liability risk, including property, liability, director and officer insurance, and of course workers' compensation, business interruption, and other forms of routine and ordinary course insurance that every health system has. The nonprofit, of course, is going to assume all expenses, real estate taxes, and fees associated with all of the lease as the operator of those assets. Just to reiterate, this is an all-in lease. It includes future acquired assets. It includes future acquired everything, including workforce, intangibles, websites. Everything used for the operation of the hospital flows over with this lease. And at the end of the day, it's merely a mechanism for transforming the governance of your current operating system, the hospital, the health system, transforming that into a private actor. That's all it is, through a mechanism of a lease. Now, the importance of that all-in nature means that if there is a termination or enforcement of the lease, the ownership of all of those assets, including those, what I'll call after-acquired assets, revert back to the county. That's a pretty powerful mechanism. Now, businesses, including healthcare businesses, change a lot over time. We're standing here today in 2026 looking at a facility that will be utterly transformed probably in 15 years, possibly less. How does it continue to be governed by this static written document? Well, we do our best to foresee change, and we allow the lease, or the lease allows change by allowing the nonprofit to buy and sell assets that are governed by the lease as long as the proceeds from any sales or disposition of property are plowed back into the provision of health care. Again, everything is locked in the box. Up to 25% of the leased property can be transferred without the county's consent. But again, just to ensure that there's no slippage, if you will. Major transfers or attempted sales of property above 25% would need to be consented to by the county. This lease is almost as good as a purchase of real estate. Real estate attorneys often refer to property rights as a bundle of sticks. If this were a bundle of sticks, 100 sticks, this would confer 99 of those sticks to the nonprofit health system. And as such, the nonprofit will be able to borrow and encumber this lease, not to the detriment or not imposing superior encumbrances to the county's rights, but to enable the nonprofit itself to go to the exempt bond market and finance expansion and growth of the facilities. Now, I've mentioned on a couple of occasions the enforcement of this lease, and God forbid there's ever a need to truly enforce it by termination. But this is what lawyers plan for. There are certain representations and warranties in the lease which, if violated, the county would be able to, in fact, take back as assets, and not necessarily to operate those assets for itself, but potentially to start again or to pivot them to a third party for its operations. Those representations and warranties include maintaining the tax-exempt status of the nonprofit, and this is important, I should say, because in addition to all of these promises in the lease, as a charitable 501c3 nonprofit organization, this nonprofit will be subject to a whole panoply of federal regulations that restrict its operation to purely community-based public charitable purposes. And in fact, this is how the majority of hospitals in our country currently operate, subject to those tax-exempt 501c3 rules. So that becomes another added layer of protection for the operation of the hospital. But back to the lease, the nonprofit also has to observe the debt covenants of the county's current debt and bond arrangements with both Bremer Bank and Bell Bank and any future banks it may obtain financing from. The nonprofit has to maintain its main office within the service area of the hospital, which we've defined very carefully to allow for expansion and growth. That is the intent of this transaction. The nonprofit has to maintain all of its healthcare licenses, and here again, we're bootstrapping a whole slew of regulations and protections, both from the federal Medicare system, as well as the state hospital licensure regime. The nonprofit has to take the existing medical staff bylaws and all the rules and regulations of the existing hospital, take those on wholesale with only a name change. It can revise and continue to update those into the future, but as of January 1, it takes them as is. The nonprofit is forced to reemploy, to make essentially offers of employment to all existing employees of the healthcare system. The nonprofit is continuing to provide indigent and uninsured care, just as the county operations do today. And under state statute, the nonprofit is required to invest all of its proceeds, its retained earnings, in a prudent fashion, conservatively, in accordance with Minnesota statutes. There were questions raised as we went through this process about how do we enable the nonprofit to continue to finance its growth? And the answer to that lies largely in the exempt bond market and the vicissitudes of those interest rates. The nonprofit will no longer have the authority the county had to exercise the full faith and credit of taxpayers and secure the lowest possible interest rates. But the exempt bond market is available just as it is to all and the majority of nonprofit operators throughout the country. So the future debt is likely to be held by the nonprofit, which, as I said earlier, can effectively mortgage or collateralize its leasehold interests. But we also made provisions for the nonprofit to ask the county to act as a conduit bond issuer, and for the county to do so, if it so chose, in its sole discretion. If that ever comes to pass, if the county issues additional bonds in the future to help finance the hospital's growth, the principal and interest payments on that future debt then would be rolled into the lease, this lease before us today. But again, all of that would be at the sole discretion of the county to enter into. Here's where it gets a little tricky, because again, lawyers try to plan for the future. I've been doing this for 34 years, and I've seen a lot of futures. I've seen a lot of presents where nonprofit hospitals don't even recall that they are doing business under a lease of this nature with a fallow or otherwise inoperative government actor. Typically, those are district entities that haven't been dissolved yet. What I'm hinting at is, at some day this will become so boring to you all that someone will ask the question, why do we have this lease? Can't we let this caged bird fly? Is there anything else that needs to be secured or protected against, or are we doing fine? And if that comes to pass, and if you choose to operate the provisions I'm addressing on this slide, you may do so, but you are not forced to do so. There are purchase rights for the nonprofit to buy out the lease at any time if it chooses to go ahead and defease or pay off all of the existing debt of the county. And that would be a wonderful thing because the county's got quite a debt load at present. If a third-party actor came along and paid off that debt, I think we'd all shout for joy. And there are provisions that allow the nonprofit to do that. The county, if you're the ones asking the question, why do we still have this arrangement, has the right to force the nonprofit to flee the cage, to fly with the successful operating system, and to buy out the lease, but only when all of the debt of the county is paid off. And why would you want to do it sooner? But the nonprofit, in that case, has to take full possession and title to the property and continue to operate it going forward. Now, I will acknowledge that there's an imbalance between these two provisions. The nonprofit can pay off your debt at any time and assume full rights, but you have to wait until your debt is paid off by the nonprofit. And that is because you have made the determination in our prior discussions that it wouldn't be good for your health system to impose on it the obligation to defease all of the existing bonds in potentially an uncertain, potentially high interest rate market at the whim of the county commission, including future county commissions other than yourselves. That is the reason for the non-reciprocal nature of these options. They're protective of the health system's economic interests going forward. But with all of these options, even once exercised, those reserve powers I addressed in the bylaws, they continue to live on in perpetuity. In other words, whether the nonprofit holds the fee simple title to the real estate or the county doesn't matter with respect to the county's ability to ensure that, quote unquote, its health system is always operating independent and can't be galloped up by a third-party player. Those reserve powers remain in perpetuity until the county decides, for whatever reason, it wishes to resign them. Now, a few final remarks here. People sometimes ask, gee, I saw $1. Is this fair market value? Did anyone get an appraisal of this stuff? Other leases I've seen for my apartment or my truck, they've got bigger dollar amounts than involved here. Well, I want to take you back to the fundamental purpose of the transaction, which was never to liquidate the assets of your health system, never to put them into sand piles or snow plows or any other county purposes, but in fact to grow the health system, not only for the care of the community, but also for your tax base and for the productivity of the community as a whole. Having said that, I would say this is a fair market value lease because of the extraordinary nature of the assumption of liabilities by the nonprofit's actor. The nonprofit hasn't been able to determine any of these lease terms. The nonprofit's been forced to assume all of your existing liabilities, including your bond debt. The nonprofit has no way to further sell or transfer, any more than the 25% I referenced in the earlier slide, any of these assets. And keep in mind that if in breach, you take back all of the assets and property, even those assets that the nonprofit acquired with its own resources following the closing of this transaction. Now, if there were a future state where a third-party health system engaged in discussions with the county and with your nonprofit health system over the potential merger or reorganization of your healthcare assets into something other than an independent, autonomous health system, you would be at that table because of the reserve powers in the bylaws. And I've seen many a transaction of that category where governmental owners exercising those reserve powers have had the opportunity to have a lot of leverage in those conversations to ensure that essential services aren't cut off, to ensure that OB and maternity care, mental health, and other essential services that may not be profitable remain in the community, irregardless of this larger transaction pending, and sometimes also to extract, yes, wealth from those transactions. This is, after all, a sizable investment by the county. That opportunity remains in the future. That's not an opportunity you're weighing today, but it's an opportunity preserved within the documents of this transaction. Now, what will you do after January 1, 2026, if this transaction is approved? Well, you've got plenty to do. And you'll have more time to do it when you're not running a hospital. But you will have an ongoing role over the oversight of the health system, including, most importantly, being an advocate for the community in its governance. You will continue to appoint 2 commissioners. You will continue to have eyes and ears in the boardroom in the decisions made by this organization. You will hopefully monitor its progress going forward, including its profitability, its viability. You'll continue to service the county's debt from the rent revenues you'll receive from the nonprofit. You'll act as a potential conduit for future bond financing if you choose. And those appointment powers and the reserve powers you'll continue to exercise into the future. Which leads us to, why are we doing this? What is the big picture here? When I was engaged to represent you, you said you were concerned about the county's risk in an ever-changing healthcare market, ever more complex, failing health systems across the country, large and small. We wanted to remove that from your shoulders. This does that. You wanted to create a more flexible platform that allowed for growth and expansion, bringing the wonderful services of your trusted healthcare employees to communities and surrounding areas. This does that. You wanted to create a more flexible governance platform that would include a broader breadth of leadership and expertise, including individuals that may not necessarily want to run to be county commissioners, physicians, hospital workers, healthcare advocates. You've created that governance. Most importantly, you wanted to adopt a corporate form that was best of market, that was competitive with the peers of your health system, that maximized the future opportunities for not just surviving, but thriving healthcare in your community. And I believe you are doing that. I'm here to answer any questions that any of you have in the remainder of the time allotted. I thank you for listening. I thank you for engaging in these discussions in the several months that you've been involved as hospital board members at the subcommittee and the board level. And I stand for any questions.
All righty. Commissioners, you got any questions for Mr. Schroeder? I will make a comment, and I guess this is my thinking, but anyway, I just want to mention to the public that this relieves the county from being the insurance policy for Elamir. And to me, that's a big deal. So I just want to make sure they understand that by doing this move here, we are no longer going to be the insurance coverage for Elamir. And like I said, I think that is something that the taxpayers maybe are not aware of or weren't aware of. But that being said, anybody else have a question?
I don't have a question, Mr. Chair, but maybe a comment. Tom, thank you on our behalf too. And for anybody that thinks that we started in January with Tom was the first time I've been a county commissioner since 13 when I got on, and that means I was on the hospital board at that time. And just before that, Douglas County Hospital had purchased Alec Clinic. And the year and a half or so before that time, and there was talk of then looking at a nonprofit. So this isn't something that just came up January of 2025. We spent a long time in 2016, Carl and Kevin and a few of us ran around the area looking at other nonprofits. It didn't seem like the right thing at the right time. So, but we've been looking at this for quite some time, and it's just the protection of the county along with maintaining the best health care we can possibly have and keep independent, irregardless of what a lot of people, the name change, I think 25–30% of the county thought we sold to a different organization at that time when we had the name change from Douglas County Hospital to Alamere. So I think it's a great opportunity for the county and for that. And the county's not giving up anything, to be honest. Like Tom explained, we still have that authority, first right of refusal and so on and so forth. So, thanks.
Thank you, Charlie. Any other questions? No? Well, I thank you, Mr. Schroeder, and like I said, we'll be staying in touch here until everything is completed.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion for Resolution 2568 authorizing execution of the leasing agreement.
Thank you, Shane,
I'll second.
and thank you, Charlie. Any other comments? Lene, please.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. All righty. Well, you're going to need your windshield wipers. It sounds like it's really coming down out there.
And your lights.
Yeah. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning. I'm seeking approval this morning to enter into a agreement with TriMed Systems to manage the credit card integration for our online records program. Currently, we are contracted with Authorize.net directly, but I would like to transition to the TriMed management, and that would just alleviate so much staff time too of the recorder, auditor, treasurer, and finance department. And I attached the statement of work for your review.
Board's wishes.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I got a question.
Yes.
We already use Landshark in some other places, don't we?
We do. So actually, a year ago, last spring, I brought it to you and I had asked for approval to contract or enter into an agreement with Authorize.net directly. My hope was to also be able to transition them to use at our front counter, move our whole office to Authorize.net credit card. It just hasn't worked out that way. I think it's unpredictable, their fees. So I checked with some other counties that allow TriMed to manage it. So what happens then, currently right now, if you're gonna go online, purchase a real estate document, it's $5 per session, right? Plus $1 a document. So really, at the end of the day, they keep that service charge that I have in place to cover administrative costs, and they'll just give us the document charges at the end of every month.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve Landshark credit card integration.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Charlie. Any other questions? Lene, please.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Mr. Erickson.
Oh, she's really coming down.
Yeah, it's pouring.
Yeah, it's coming down.
Snow.
Look at the wind.
I know.
You can't tell we were going to pour concrete this morning, can you?
Of course you were.
Good morning. I have several resolutions for you. The first one is a contract final for our 2025 pavement markings. This was Sir Lions-A-Lot out of Edina, did our striping this year. As you can see from the certificate of performance, they did pretty good. They overran that just by 0.11%. The guys will do better next year. But with that, I would make that recommendation that the commissioners accept the completed project and authorize final payment in the amount of $200,783.45.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2569 to make final payment to Sir Lines-A-Lot LLC.
Thank you, Tim.
Second.
Thank you, Shane. Any other questions? Lene, please.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yeah.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you very much. These next four actually go back to the quick claims that we were doing with the fairgrounds property. So apparently, last time when we had a resolution, and it was for all four of them together in one, for different, like abstract, for the title work, that sort of thing, they needed to all be separate.
Separate, very well.
So there we are, there's the four sitting in front of you. I don't know if you can do them together, if you need to do them each.
Well, we better do them all separate then.
Yeah, let's do them separate, then we don't have any questions.
They'll have
Yep.
a separate resolution.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'll make a motion for resolution 25-70, quick claim deed to John and Heather Lee.
Thank you, Charlie.
A second.
Jeff, thank you, Jeff. Lene, please.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, number 3.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 25-71, quick claim deed to Delia Wigdahl.
Thank you, Charlie.
Second.
Thank you, Shane. Lene, please.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
motion carries.
Number 4.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion for resolution 2572, quick claim deed to Rita Roser.
Yep.
I'll second.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Tim. Lene, please.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, number 5.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion for resolution 2573, quick claim deed to Douglas County HRA.
Thank you, Shane.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tim. Lene, please.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hopefully it's the last time I bring those to you.
Mr. Chair, I got a question for Tim. Have you heard anything on Brophy Way? Anything for an update on that?
Do you guys recall what we had Pat talk about on Thursday? So I know we looked through all that. We still run into the issue of that corner parcel.
Right.
The one that isn't ours.
Well, you can send me an email.
Let me send you an email on
Please.
that. Yep,
The Wayside?
Wayside.
Haven't heard anything since we were going to have Scott look into it, Mr. Davis.
Well, he made the recommendation of possibly us doing a quick claim if we.
Okay. Well, you
if-
can send me an update.
For that corner, there's a piece of that land and it's been in the right of way since 1931.
Something like that. And that's why before I get into
We're-
guessing
we're
at what things
probably,
are.
yeah, 2 or 3, maybe 4 generations down the road, and
Okay.
we sort of stumbled into some stuff that we're not
Mm-hmm.
too sure how easy this is going to be to get squared away, but that's what, he said the easiest way would be to do a quick claim and see if the family says
See
anything.
what happens.
Doesn't seem like that's the proper thing to do, though. We should probably go to the family first.
So we will
Pour
absolutely
concrete.
update you.
Go pour concrete.
I don't think that's happening today. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Tim.
We're not getting done with 34th today then either.
All righty, we are up for Dave Rush. I don't see Dave. So we're going to take a 5-minute break.
Are you on Jill?
Oh, okay, come on up, Jill.
Joe was ready.
Jill was ready.
Yeah, I saw that.
Good morning. I just have one item today, just looking for a motion to approve bills totaling $830,152.49.
Motion to pay the bills.
Thank you, Charlie.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tim. Any other questions? Lene, please.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Jill. Now we'll take 5 minutes. Resume back to our meeting here, folks.
Good morning.
Morning, Dave.
Some items for you. The first being the final plat of Rusty Moose Resort. This is a converted resort on Lake Miltona. They've met all of the requirements we had and are seeking to have their final plat approved for recording. And we recommend approval of that.
I will make that motion, Dave.
Second.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other questions?
Jerry, Mr. Chair, I got one question. Dave, did you talk about it? I'm doing this for Julie's sake, about a storm shelter out there at all?
No, Mr. Chair, the resort has mostly cabins and two homes on there. The homes have basements.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, we're more concerned when you have an RV resort about
Right.
those sorts of things, so.
All right, thank you, Dave. If that's all, Lene, please.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next two items are from our Planning Advisory Commission meeting last week. The first being a conditional use permit application to restock a former feedlot. They plan to restock it up to 50 animal units. This is in Ida Township. Planning Commission recommended approval with the 4 conditions that are in your packet.
I'll make a motion to approve Brian K. and Lisa L. Meissner feedlot with conditions.
Thank you, Tim.
Second.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other questions? Lene, please.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
And my last item, conditional use permit. This is to allow an aggregate mining operation, Carlos Township off of Prairie Road. Planning Commission considered this last week. They had some input from the public, concerns regarding traffic on Prairie Road, dust and noise. It was discussed at the meeting. There's a number of conditions that are proposed in there by staff and are recommended be included in any approval by Planning Commission that would, at least Planning Commission feels, would address those concerns by limiting the hours of operation, by requiring dust control under situations where there is a lot of truck traffic and no precipitation for a number of days. And then a requirement that all trucks coming in and out of the facility have to travel eastward to Trunk Highway 29 and not to the west where they would be using County Road 42. So with that, Planning Commission recommended approval with those conditions that are listed in your packet.
So Dave, I just have to ask, if they're requested to go to 29, can they come back the other way empty?
No, I think the way we wrote that is that no truck traffic shall be permitted on Prairie Road west of the mine entrance to County Road 42. The goal there is, and I think as you gentlemen recall, just a short time ago, we considered an application for a use on 42 and Prairie Road, and that intersection and the traffic on 42, it was a bit of a concern. Having truck traffic of that nature up and down 42 is not something that I think we'd want to see in that volume, given the fact that 29 is not even a mile from that mine entrance on Prairie Road.
Right, and the other thing I just want to make sure we're aware of, next summer, they're going to be doing the bridge between Geneva and Lahamadu, which I think is going to make it very difficult to go south on 29. So I'm just saying, we got to have a little leeway in there under road construction. If road construction deters them from going that way.
Detour is 42.
No, I'm talking about County Road 29, where they're put, yeah, and so if they can't go south there,
I know.
Yeah, he said the detour is going to be 42.
oh, I see, I see.
But we
I
just
see.
had coffee with
Okay,
with,
Well, anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up because if there are some circumstances that come to be, we can't be,
Mr. Chair,
Negative.
yeah, David, is there any test wells on this property from,
There are, Mr. Chair, there are no test wells on this property related to
isn't.
the closed landfill.
well, yeah, they're very near.
Yeah, and so
There's been some out, I didn't know if I knew the Hinnemeisters and I know their land, and I mean, I thought maybe there was some, because there's quite a few around.
So the Pollution Control Agency does take water samples from domestic drinking water wells, and they do sample the Hintermeister well.
Just their well. They
Yeah.
don't have any other test
No,
wells.
not until you get closer to the facility, the closed facility are their test wells. My understanding in a recent conversation with a representative from Pollution Control Agency is that they're have a high level of confidence that the contaminant plume in that groundwater is moving to the southwest, and
The
not.
flume is moving to the south.
Plume is moving to the southwest, which means that the general groundwater movement in that area is toward Kruger Slough
Yeah,
and not to the northeast, so.
yeah. Okay.
yeah. All righty, board's wishes. Well, while they're thinking about that, I just want one more item there, and that is, when it come to that dust control, was that something that they would do with water trucks, or what were they?
They had indicated, Mr. Chair, that they were going to, if it was a dry summer, put chloride down, and if it's not, they can certainly do water trucks.
Yeah.
At least one of the benefits being that Prairie Road is bituminous, so we're not going to have them, they won't be generating dust.
I get
off of
it,
Prairie
I
Road.
get it. Yep, all right, thank you. All righty.
Mr. Chair, I got one question. You didn't put any stipulation here about times for crushing and stuff? It would just be the general operation of the pit that would regulate the times that they can crush?
There, Mr. Chair, there were no specific times. However, in condition 7, it indicates that they can't operate more than 3 times annually and not more than 6 consecutive days each time. So that
Yeah.
was.
I would, just looking at the hours per day, so that would go under number, what is it? 6 with the 7 to 6 PM, so they couldn't crush before 7 or after 6.
Correct.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Tim. I'll second it. Any other questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yep.
Okay, you're talking about crushing and screening 3 times annually and not more than 6 days in a row? 18 days a year they can do this? The crushing, screening. Okay. You,
And Mr. Chair, I'm.
You know
Mr.
what
Meyer,
where
your
I'm going
concern
now,
is
don't you?
How do we keep track of that?
well, who's the cop?
policing? Yes.
You know, I just,
That too was one of the concerns I had.
these are the ones we have the conversations about when you have that many conditional.
Yeah.
And that's Mr. Schmidt's idea here a little bit ago about we need to get you somebody.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's helpful in these situations is if we do have disturbance, neighbors will certainly let us know, and at that point, we're aware
But then we're
of.
always chasing it.
We are a little bit chasing it and then having
Well,
to
it's a
track it.
complaint-driven system we have.
Yep.
And I'm not sure we need to keep it that way. If we have all these conditions, maybe we should be on the proactive end of it. Just an opinion,
Yep.
okay?
Don't disagree with you at all.
Thank you, but
Anybody else? Linnea, please.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
yes,
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, let's go over to Vicki Doling.
And good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I've got two gambling permits before you, each with a resolution. The first being for Oscar Lake Association to conduct a raffle on January 10th, 2026 at the Lake Oscar Public Access.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve resolution
74.
2574 for the gambling permit for Oscar Lake Association raffle.
Thank you, Charlie.
I'll second.
Thank you, Shane. Any other questions? Lene, please.
Kalina.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And the next resolution is for Minnesota Trap Shooting Association to conduct a raffle on July 5th, 2026 at the Alexandria Shooting Park.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2575 gambling permit for Minnesota Trap Shooting Association.
Thank you, Tim. I'll second it. Any other questions? Lene, please.
Rapp.
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Kalina.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Tabitha, you're up next.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I am here with Ann Steen, a familiar face from Horizon Public Health this morning to seek board approval for the opioid grant contracts that the opioid task force has recommended for approval. I'll kick it over to Ann now to describe a little bit about the projects that you have before you.
Good morning, thank you. I'm here in place of our community strategist who is facilitating this process across all 5 of our counties and is in another county this morning doing this very same thing. Just as a reminder, and particularly for those of you who are new to this, this is a grant process where we're granting out funds that were part of the opioid settlement. The total amount of grant projects that are being proposed today fall below they are utilizing funds that are already here in Douglas County. So it is not projecting future payments. And so we've followed that model across our 5 counties and think that that's been working well to not get ahead of ourselves related to those settlement dollars. And you're probably aware that there are some new settlements happening again and continue as we go. This is our second process that we have done with this in Douglas County. And I believe we're getting additional interest from our community partners and people that are interested in participating in this. And so you can see that there are multiple grants that have been recommended for funding. And I just want to remind you, we did have this process for how we would go about this was approved by your Douglas County Board probably almost 2 years or so ago now. But there is a group that evaluates these, all of the applications together, and that includes representation from the Sheriff's Office, the Alexandria PD, our 3 local school districts, Brandon, Evansville, Alexandria, and Osakis. Region 4 is there, Beyond Brink, West Central Community Action, Alamere, Douglas County Social Services, as well as Horizon Public Health. And so you have the grant summaries that were recommended for funding. Those recommendations from that group then go to a screening committee here at Douglas County to just make sure that everything is in line for the reporting that is required to the state on an annual basis. And then if approved today, these applicants would execute, there's a contract between Douglas County and the applicant related to their grant project. And so the recommendation out of that group today is for Bridgeway Career Learning Program for $55,764, Car Care for $110,000, Douglas County Jail for $68,447.89, Solutions Behavioral Health for $146,360, Unity Recovery for $10,000, West Central Community Action for $35,000, and Lakes Area Pride for $4,000. Are there any questions?
Commissioners, any questions?
Mr. Chair, I got a question. I wanted to ask about the car care program. When you sent the breakdown, $95,000 of it's going to salaries. Isn't there any way we can use more of that money to buy vehicles and do stuff when they can, when that was emailed out, it said that. So I mean, it's almost,
Do you have the grant application?
I do, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Schmidt. Those kinds of conversations, those types of conversations do happen with the committee during the process and trying to think about how do we maximize. And I know that there were a few applications through this process. We went back to the applicant and some adjustments were made.
You have the car care. Yeah, here's
Because aren't most of the vehicles donated?
Right, the vehicles get donated, and
Yeah.
so,
some are, some aren't. Sometimes they buy them for under 1,000 or they buy them here and there, but they got to put a lot of work into them too to get them back roadworthy. And I think if you look at it, Dan, I think the whole thing was the breakdown was what all the counties, but I think the Douglas County share was what, 40-some thousand for salaries?
right. The Douglas County share, there's 22,000 allocated to vehicle repairs, 10,000 to vehicle donations, 55,000 to salaries, 13,000 for operating supplies and tools, and 10,000 for insurance and outreach and volunteer support. I believe they're really trying to set up and having, they're needing more support for some of their volunteer crew is what we're understanding from them. I don't know that we can, if the grants are coming to you as they were presented and recommended, so if there's something else you would want to have happen, we would need to
Go back to the drawing board.
table that one and have a conversation with them, yes. I mean, that would be an option if that's your wishes.
Well, I'll make a comment here, and like number 7 there, we thought it might be a benefit for that money to go to Teen Challenge with most of those people that go there are suffering from some kind of a drug impairment, and so how big of a deal would it be for that to go to Teen Challenge?
Teen Challenge did not apply for funding, so that's, yeah. Certainly, if they applied, then their application would be in the mix with, yeah.
Mr. Chair, I got a question. This 429,571, what's left after that comes out of our opioid that we have cash on hand? Because this cash is basically in hand in Douglas County. It's not future, right?
Correct. Our staff member gets the total from each county as we're starting this process, so we're sure that there is not a recommendation for over that amount. And that includes any prior commitments that the county has already made. And as you're aware, there's some grants that have been already approved, and so all of that is taken into account, so there isn't an overcommitment, and we're only, the only recommendations are coming forward that could be fully funded out of money that is in hand at Douglas County right now and doesn't anticipate future funds coming in, which we're absolutely anticipating that they will continue to come in, but those are not being counted on for the recommendations today.
Okay, Gio had her hand up. What? Okay, thank you.
Because the end dates do vary quite a bit too, Ann. I see that. Some of these go till the middle of 27. A couple of them do anyway.
Correct.
Okay. And then they got to come back and reapply if they want
Yes,
more.
yes.
You know, I just wanted to bring up one more question, like Shane mentioned, is, I mean, car care, how is that part of an opioid settlement? I don't really follow that.
Their application indicates that they are working to get cars to people who are in recovery related to substance use and making sure that they are helping them be successful in getting to whatever treatment or support kinds of needs they have, continuing employment, and all of those kinds of things. That's your recollection too. I'm not looking at the, yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right. They identified, particularly in the rural area, accessing recovery services is a huge barrier, particularly if people are looking to get to ongoing treatment or outpatient treatment. The transportation can be a barrier. And so those particular cars that Chris has identified in his application would be specific to individuals who were seeking recovery services.
And just a question is, much longer do you think this opioid settlement is going to be on the books? How much longer?
It originally was, they were telling us that we would be receiving funding for 18 years
18 years. Wow.
in total.
Okay.
Okay, with that said, I'll make a motion to approve the opioid grants.
Thank you, Tim.
Second.
Thank you, Charlie. Any other questions? Lene, please.
Way,
No.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
No.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp.
No.
Motion fails.
All righty.
Mr. Chair, are you wanting to separate the grants out and look at approving any of these today, or?
Yes, I believe that would be the,
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve Bridgeway Career Learning, Douglas County Jail, Solutions Behavioral, United Recovery, and West Central Minnesota Community Action. I think the other two ought to be tabled and relooked at.
I second that.
all righty. I have a motion and a second. So we're going to re-vote on those items with those other two being taken out. Lene, please.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Kalina,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I still would like to make a comment. I really think that the car care, I think it's a great program. I have no issues with it, but I just don't think we should be giving all our dollars to salary. Over half of it's going to salary. We should be using it to get cars, fix cars, whatever the case may be. If they have to, they can find their salary other ways. That's my opinion.
Yep, yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Angie, you're next. All right, good morning.
Commissioners. I'm Angie Hasbrook, Population Health Supervisor at Horizon, and this is Jarrett. He is our Cannabis and Substance Use Prevention Coordinator. We are here because we've been working with Douglas County and specifically Dave Rush on a process for cannabis business retail registration. Horizon has been designated as the entity to support the business registration aspect for Douglas County, Polk County, and Grant County. And so in some of the guidance that OCM has given, we have to create a process in order to register those retail-specific cannabis businesses. There's a lot of different decisions that we can make when we look at the process that we want to choose, and so we've been working closely with Dave and then the county attorney on what would be best to kind of, for Douglas County in terms of that, the process that we select. And so just looking at what I want to highlight here, one of the key things that we've decided or are proposing is that an entity has to have full state licensure from OCM before they can apply for local registration. Another key piece is that Douglas County has elected a cap of cannabis businesses. We're proposing that you have language for first come, first serve in the ordinance, that if for some reason there's two businesses that apply on the same day and they come in the mail at the same time, that it goes from first come, first serve, and if there's limited, then it goes to a lottery system to select whoever would get that spot. Just a little bit further clarification, so if an instance like that does come up, it's written and documented on how we would handle that. The other kind of key piece is that we're proposing business registration opens up on Monday, September 22nd at 8 a.m. Knowing that this is a first come, first serve, we want to make sure that all businesses have equal opportunity to know when it opens and have that way to submit their application. One of the things I want to highlight is that there are several cities or townships that haven't delegated to the county to do cannabis business registration. And in those instances, if those cities, let's say the city of Alexandria, if they already have cannabis business registrations, that means we don't have to have them. Let's say the city of Alexandria has 5, that means Douglas County doesn't have to issue any because the city is taking care of those. So that's just kind of an educational piece there. But we will have low potency hemp edible business registrations that are currently at the state, and they're gonna come to us locally here in the fall. They haven't really given clear timelines on that. Those are kind of the key pieces that I wanted to highlight. We're trying to streamline this process, being that there's no more tax revenue coming from the state to support registration. And so we're doing all we can to make this a streamlined process to limit staff time and cost. Any questions?
I guess, go ahead if you get one.
Yeah, and do we, everybody knows Burger King or somebody, is that registered with us yet?
So that would be through the city of Alexandria, and we've reached out to them, and we'll be reaching out to Osakis and the other entities to see if they've already had spots. And if they do, then we don't have to accept any. We would bring that to your
And you guys
attention.
you don't have to do anything at all.
Correct.
They're gonna take care, you're not going to help the city of Alec or Osakis, or they haven't
Since they haven't delegated, we're not helping with them at all.
delegated the
Yep.
Horizon, okay.
Yeah, my question is, do we have any idea how much the taxpayer is going to have to subsidize these businesses? Because they're not going to be self-supporting is everything I've heard. They're not self-supporting, which to me, that was the whole purpose to start with. It was going to be the taxes off of the sales of these products was going to take care of it.
Mr. Scheer, did you hear the one that's supposed to be doing the one at Burger King? This is a 40th store. I think they're doing just fine.
Wow, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
We're
that's the
getting
scary
scary
part.
Yeah, well, anyway, I just think that we have to keep our eyes and ears on this topic because I think there's some big loopholes in here. I really do. And I just can't imagine why the taxpayers should have to pay for somebody's bad habit.
Well, you know why? All the other ones in the state that are open are tribal.
Well,
And that's going to be
that's true.
taken care of by the rest of us.
Mr. Chair, that other one that's coming in out at the mall, they're from Michigan, and this is like their 19th.
Yeah, there's none,
They know what they're
this
doing.
isn't good for local trade or
Yeah.
a damn thing.
They know what they're doing.
It's good for the cartel. Now they think it's legal.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a really
But thank you guys
skeptical.
for
Yep,
everything
thank
you
you.
do.
I mean,
I hope like hell you can figure it out someday. We've done a damn poor job, obviously, because they're moving in.
sure. Yes.
What Horizon's looking for from you as a board today is just if you have any concerns related to this process. And otherwise, if you don't, as a board, if you agree that this process suits the needs, let them know. Or if you have any concerns that there's something they need to change in here, great. Otherwise, this is the process that they plan to implement for registering the adult
Yep.
cannabis.
Well, thank you, Dave. I just, again, want to make sure we keep an open mind that we have the ability to change whatever needs to be changed as we see something come up that is a problem. That's my concern, is that we don't let this thing just willy-nilly take its own course, that we, I guess, manage it to the point where we can, if something's wrong, we fix it or make it better.
Is that,
Yeah, in this circumstance, Mr. Chair, this is an internal policy of Horizon, so they can make changes as they see fit. Anything else that might arise as part of an ordinance that the county has drafted, we certainly can go back process. As you're aware, we have to do public hearing if we revise our ordinances in any way, but yeah, right now, this process supports the retail sales ordinance that we passed last spring.
Yep, yep.
Mr. Chair, one other thing, it got, with the compliance checks in, so you guys aren't gonna be doing them then either.
We're going to be working with the sheriff's department to
Yeah,
do
but
the
if we don't
compliance
have
checks.
any to control, if they're all in if they're all in Alexandria or Kensington or Osakis, then you don't have any compliance checks to do, but they're supposed to do their own.
Then they're responsible to arrange those.
Still in our county, though. Yeah, that's what I agree with Mr. Rapp on that, totally. We don't need to call St. Paul for help, that's for damn sure, because we're not gonna get any from there.
Well, Mr. Chair, I think you got a good deal here for the process.
Yeah, that is
It,
good.
it looks good. You spent a lot of time and you got your I's dotted and your T's crossed, I think. So I don't think we have to worry about anything.
Yep, very good. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, we are, listen, we got to talk about this, the agenda item on the City Hall meeting on September 22nd. We was looking at moving that to the 20th of October.
Mr. Chair, October 27th.
Oh, excuse me, 27th. You're right, 27th. October 27th. So does anybody see an issue with that?
What's supposed to be, when was it supposed to be?
It was supposed to be the 22nd of
22nd.
September. That would be the fourth Monday.
Are you still shooting a moose?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, Lene, you still got to check with the city on that.
I did hear back from Marty. It's sounding like that should work, October 27th.
Works for
5
me.
PM.
5 PM.
5 PM?
October 27th,
That's on a Monday, so
City Hall.
meet City Hall. All right.
Might know
At
more
5
about-
o'clock?
We might know a little more about cannabis by then. Well, we might.
Well, we might.
I mean, if there's going to be other ones. And
Yeah.
the county may not, you know.
I
There's
hope
two
we
in the
don't
city
have to,
limits,
yeah, I hope we don't have to
You know.
do it.
So Osakis gets one, maybe
Yeah.
Millerville will get one. I don't know.
Yeah. Time will tell. All righty, well then that meeting got moved to October 27th.
Mr. Chair,
Sure.
I'd like to give Lene an item to put on there. If we would
Okay.
like to talk about the Highway 29 reconstruction, do you want to bring that up again or not? From 8th Avenue out to 50th with the city?
29th South.
Right,
We have to talk about 17th and 18th.
right.
That
So I'm
has to
saying
be
maybe we
done.
need to talk about, so you want to put that on there, Lene?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, in all respect to Alamir and, I mean, the hospital.
Right.
It's
Yeah, that's a
the
very,
plan and what, I mean, because they've only half done what they said they were gonna do with 18th,
Correct.
and now they're gonna, well, what, yeah, we need to do that.
And I don't know what other items you might have, but I knew
Well,
that one.
The issue I have with that would be moving the lights like they plan on moving. It would, in closing 17th and having to go around behind Cenex and come out on 18th.
Yeah.
That-
yeah, I
that
don't
doesn't make
understand
any
it. I
sense
don't
to me,
understand.
Because that's a street to
The
nowhere.
old- In the old safe driving school things, if you have an entrance to a place, but it's not an exit, it
not
really
an
makes
exit.
life difficult, and the average age of somebody going to the hospital isn't 25.
No, but that's one
But when you
topic.
can't leave and go out the same way as you came in, it's the son
Right.
of a gun.
That's one topic, the moving of the lights.
Yeah, but wouldn't you think that they'd look at, I mean, putting in a roundabout there? I mean, wouldn't that make sense?
It would.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, I'm
they
not
gotta
a
pay
roundabout
for
fan, but I think it makes sense.
Man, you're talking.
The other thing is,
compensation,
which I
Jerry,
think
let's
you've
not-
all heard, the tech school is going to remodel and put their entrance to the south on 18th.
Okay.
So that might be the other reason for the lights. What, the old diesel mechanic shop, is that not?
But they
shared?
were also gonna have 18th go all the way to
The First Lutheran.
I hear you.
46.
You can bring that one up.
No, we can bring that up. That should have happened 10 years ago already.
Talk
but-
about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, anything else on that subject? Any?
a couple of things.
One other thing is the roundabout that's gonna go on 46 and Pioneer. I think the city should pay for half of that.
I agree.
At least.
Oh, another thing, on the Big Ole Park, and we got the farmer's market, and like today, it rained, and it becomes a mud hole.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been fighting with this for years.
Yeah.
And some way to make an improvement so that the customers don't have to walk in the mud or the water puddle for the farmer's market.
Sure.
So,
Down to wear over boots.
Hey, Charlie, are we moving the stone? Is that getting done?
It's going to get done.
So we'll need to bring that up again.
No, because the museum is going to get it on the museum property. They're just going to make a little indentation there so everybody can get to it.
One other thing I wanna bring up is Red Willow Coalition concerts on the
Good point.
courthouse lawn.
Good point.
Yeah, we should put that, Monet should put that down there. Yeah.
Yes, yes, for sure. Do we have enough? All right. All righty. Well, with that, we'll move on to the approving the per diems. Tim,
guess
you
I'm
are
first, huh?
up next, yep.
Okay. 4th of August, Charlie and I and Jill, and we were at the Budget Committee meeting. And on the 5th, Commissioner meeting. And then on the 11th, I had a meeting with Lee and HR. Charlie was there too. And then the 11th, I had Planning and Zoning. And then on the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, I drove a golf cart at the fairgrounds. I volunteered to do that because I'm part of the Ag Association board. I'm not really a member, I just sit in on the meetings. On the 22nd, had a hospital board meeting. 25th was Lakeland Mental Health. And then on the 26th, Charlie and I met with Brad and Tim about Brophy Park concert complaint.
Okay.
And I don't know if I put it down as a per diem, but maybe I can't, so. And then I see on the 27th, that special meeting, is that a per diem eligible or not? The one with the reps?
Mr. Chair, our per diem policy states that special meetings are not per diem eligible.
Okay. So then we can cross those two off.
Okay.
And then on the 29th, I had planning and zoning viewing.
All righty. Thank you, Tim. And let's see, who's next? Charlie.
Yep. Budget meeting with Tim and Jill. Commissioner meeting on the 5th. We had Horizon on the 11th. The 12th, I had a meeting with Troy and the sheriff from Traverse County and a county commissioner from Traverse County. And to my surprise, and he was asking us how to get a bigger rate in the jails. He's having same issues. He's just like we are. I think he's at $85 a day, knowing it's almost $300 a day cost. And so that was all that was. We were talking about similarities in different, and he's got a quite a bit smaller jail, but has same issues as per person anyway. 13th, Correctional Advisory Board, noon here over at the courthouse. 14th, Hospital Exec Meeting. 14th, also Rainbow Rider. And 15th, Hospital 501 meeting. 18th, Pope Douglas, Strategic Planning. 19th, Commissioner meeting. 21st, the regular monthly solid waste meeting. 22nd, Hospital Board meeting. 25th, CPT meeting. We had meeting in August because the Monday or the day before down in Stevens County where we meet, they had that 7 inches of rain the day before and flooded the town and all that. So we have them for a couple months in a row. The complaint meeting, yeah, that's the one Tim and I. It's just one couple lives out on Centennial Drive, thinks we're making, the Rotary Club's making too much noise at that park. So 27th, that one doesn't count, okay. special meeting with the legislators. And on the 28th, we had Public Works Coffee, Jeff and I.
Thank you, Charlie. Alrighty, mine goes hospital on the July 30th. 7:31, we had a conference through 8:1 for the hospital. And then 8:5, we had a regular meeting. 8:6, Osaka Sauk River Watershed. 8:7, Prime West. 8:8, Food Pool and Lodging in Glenwood. 8:11, Horizon. And 8:14, PIO. 8:19, regular meeting. And 8:19, Sauk River Watershed regular meeting. 8:21, we had a Sauk River Watershed policy meeting. That's like 3 or 4 times a year. And then on 8:22 was hospital. That concludes mine.
All right. August 4th, I had Supporting Hands Nurse Family Partnership quarterly meeting. On the 5th, County Board meeting. 7th, Prime West monthly meeting, they pay. Horizon Health was on the 11th, they pay. On the 14th, PIO meeting, went over the county agenda. On the 15th, Alamir 501. On the 19th, we had the county board meeting again. On the 19th, it was Alamir executive meeting, did updates for the agenda. On the 21st, it was Pope Douglas Solid Waste, our monthly meeting, they pay. 21st was library, monthly meeting. 22nd was Alamir Health. 27th was our legislative meeting as well. And then on the 28th was our PIO meeting, updates on the county agenda.
Thank you, Shane.
On the 4th of August, Brandon City Council meeting, public relations. The 5th is the county board meeting. The 8th is the Environmental Health Advisory Committee held in Glenwood, food and pool and lodging. And then the 11th is the soil and water conservation monthly meeting. And then on the 11th is the groundbreaking ceremony for Rainbow Rider. And then on the 12th is the Douglas County Habitat for Humanity build, and I did that along with Shane. And they did the elected officials build day. The 14th, Rainbow Rider monthly meeting. And the Douglas County Fair, and part of the extension group, we present the Farm Family Year Award. Open line on KXRA on the 18th. The 19th, county board meeting. The 19th, Chippewa Watershed Gathering held in Starbuck. And Alamir Hospital Board meeting, monthly meeting on the 22nd. And the 26th, the economic impact of rural housing through the Ascension webinar. And then the 26th is One Central Community Action, they pay mileage. And then the 27th is the legislative panel discussion special meeting. And then coffee at the Public Works on the 28th with Charlie and I did that.
All righty, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I would like to bring up, though, I still think Charlie and Tim should get paid for that complaint for the Public Works, because Charlie and I attended one for VRBOs with Dave and went over with the customers. I think that's part of should be paid for that.
Thank you, Shane.
And then I guess we got to do Charlie's too with Troy and Traverse County.
Yes.
So let's see, what was the other one? Jeff had one?
Jeff had a couple there. I think we've paid for the commissioner to give away it's usually he
Farm
gets most of
family.
them because it's a farmer usually in that district. If it's somebody in your district, that's usually the guy that gives out the Farm Family of the Year before the auction.
Yeah, and I think the reason Jeff did it, because he sits on Ag Extension with me, so that's why Jeff did it.
Yep.
So I'd make a motion to approve the agendas with those changes.
And then, anything that on the committee related, you know, like for example, Tim is on the fair board. I think he should be per diem.
Yep. Well, that's Tim's call.
Nope.
Nope, all right,
I told him I'd donate my time, so.
Okay.
okay.
And I guess I'd make the same comment for the Habitat for Humanity. I volunteered for that, so I don't expect to get paid for that. That's up to you, Jeff.
Okay, well, your,
But that would be a change, yeah. I did not include that.
Okay. With that, then I would delete that Douglas County Humanity Build.
It was with the other ones, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So we
Now we
need a second.
yeah.
I'll second that.
thank you, Tim. Anything else? Lene?
Rapp,
Yes.
Way,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Helena.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. With that, is there any items from the floor? Any items from the floor? No items from the floor. All righty. With that, we need an adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Jeff.
Second.
Thank you, Charlie. Lene, please.
Meyer.
Yep.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Helena,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Way.
Yes.
Motion carries.